Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I thought I would do a Disability Pride Month wrap up here on BookTube because a lot of the content I created was for the bookish internet, and so I am in a lot of different places on the bookish internet, but ultimately I really wanted to come on here and just kind of wrap up my feelings about this year, because this year was really important to me. So I, had some extra time, so I decided to go all in on Disability Pride Month. And I was just taking a photo from one of my last photos on my Bookstagram grid about Disability Pride Month. And I was really thinking about some of the things I wanted to talk about and some of the topics I wanted to talk about for Disability Pride Month and the things that have been on my mind as I have been recovering for most of this year and taking, trying to take it easy and heal and recover from just a lot of health issues and a lot of burnout. So I feel like this is a great time just to talk about disability pride and what it's like to be a disabled person on the bookish internet. So this is my Disability Pride Month video. Welcome to the chaos that is my brain. So this month I decided to take a few different tactics, and I really want to thank Emily Leto's book Demystifying Disability. This is a book for disability allies to learn disability etiquette and just general information. Like why Disability Pride Month is in July is because the American with Disabilities Act passed here in the United States on July 26th. Now, they may have picked a different month for the celebration when, not during a month when a lot of us can't regulate our own temperature, possibly. Good argument for that, but here we are nevertheless. And so we now have a new disability pride flag that's more accessible for people with sensory disabilities. This was the old flag, designed by the same person. I'll put all the information down in the description box. And it's been a great time. So what I did was I wrote some educational posts for Book Riot, and the first post is called a Bookish Guide to Disability Pride Month, and so that basically just helps people participate in a bookish way in Disability Pride Month. There's also a post on how to be a good ally on the bookish internet, like making your reels and stories accessible via captions, using image descriptions on your Instagram posts, things like that, to make sure that we are trying to make our content as accessible as possible. So that's been something I've been thinking a lot about when writing these posts. So again, those will all be linked in the description. There's also an essay on reviewing disability literature as a non-disabled person. Another thing is, of course, audiobooks. I brought these out for a photo as well. They discontinued this version of the Graceling audiobook, which is full cast, and I was devastated and immediately went out and bought a book. So anyway, I was on Libro FM on their new podcast. Definitely go check it out. Again, linked in the description. And I talked about audiobooks and disability and the importance of understanding that audiobooks are first and foremost an accessibility tool, and so disabled people should be centered. So I really appreciate Libro FM having me on the podcast to talk about that. We also talk about some other things that I do since I wear many hats in the bookish world, but I really appreciate being able to discuss that because that's how I read. So speaking of audiobooks, a book I forgot to tell you about, my favorite books of the year, was 10 Steps to Nanette by Hannah Gadsby. She reads the audiobook, and as a neurodivergent person, listening to her talk about being diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder as an adult, how that explained a lot of her life experience, and it just made sense how she struggles to understand when people are you being serious, or what's happening? I don't know. She doesn't know. I just laughed through the entire audiobook, because even though she goes through a lot of difficult things, and it's not just a funny book, there's so much depth and important conversations that are happening in this book. I deeply connected with it in so many ways. So I really appreciate her doing that. I was on NPR earlier this year, and I just had to tell them about this book. I got so excited. I actually had to record a pickup for it because I just smashed all my words together, but it worked out. So that made me very, very happy to be able to do that. I love audiobooks, and some books are just better on audio. Gauntlet Throne. You know, I'm very well aware of the privilege that I experience as someone with an invisible disability. That is slowly disappearing. The older I get, the more visible it is, but most of my life I have been able to run into Target and not be bothered. A lot of disabled people cannot do that. You know, people with visible conditions, disfigurements, whatever it might be, whether you use a mobility aid or anything like that, a service dog. If you have a visible disability, there is a higher percentage of people responding to you in a very negative way, and sometimes an even violent way. And so it's really important to understand that. And so it's been really important to talk about the different types of disability and how that can present. So in that vein, I think Carly Finlay is one of the best disability rights advocates in regards to bodily difference, particularly facial differences. She edited this anthology. I don't have her memoir in print because it's published in Australia, but I really appreciate her work, and she does such an excellent job, so please go check out her work on that topic. Recently, I also read A Face for Picasso by Ariel Henley. My copy has wandered off somewhere. I don't know if I loaned it to someone or I stashed it in a safe place. I don't know. I have a squirrel brain, but I really, really love Ariel Henley's work. She was born with Cruisen syndrome. Both she and her sister were. They're twins, and it's where the bones of your skull fuse too early, and so as your brain grows, it has nowhere to go, and so they have to go in and expand your skull. But that also creates a facial difference that you can see more so. And so that memoir is such a beautiful tribute to her childhood and the people that loved her, but it also talks about the really difficult things that she grew up with, having a facial difference. So I think these are really important topics as well. You should definitely go check out these disability rights activists. And yeah, I have really appreciated a lot of the disability rights advocates that I've seen. Amani Barbarin, or Kutches and Spice, is always wonderful. Her TikToks are just stellar. Leah Lakshmi Piepzna Samarasinha, who wrote Care Work, also has a memoir called Dirty River, and I really appreciate their work with disability justice and that topic. And I mean, I could go on forever. I mean, obviously this photo, I have a lot of books hanging around, and apparently I'm even missing some because I still can't find Ariel's book, and it's around here somewhere. I am just so grateful for the disability community that I'm in. I'm so grateful for the people who have been really encouraging to me. I hope you enjoy the Disability Pride content. Thank you so much for watching this, and you can check out all the resources below. And I really appreciate you all, and I hope you all are hanging in there. I will return with some themed wrap-ups from the first part of my year, but the first thing I want to film next is Tomorrow, Gabrielle Zevin. So I'm going to review this book next because there's a lot to discuss in regards to disability and the representation in this book. So yeah, all right, that's it. But until next time, bye friends.